Hello, and welcome to my Cellar for the 126th time, I think. Or is it the 127th? Well, I'll know. Anyway, don't have a lot of things to talk about tonight. I'm wearing the earphones because my wife sleeps right above me, and I have a tendency to shout, I'm told. So if I wear the headphones, I don't shout into my own ears, so I keep it down quieter. This may not be a real long one tonight. I don't know. Not getting a lot of feedback. Okay, this is about the player character who didn't get a full share because he was the only one that lived. Or you remember from last time. And the comment is that so the player who is more cautious than the rest of the party to a point of abandoning them or inciting a mutiny. No, that's not exactly what happened. I don't think you're abandoning the party if the other 5 are dead and you beat feet out of there. That's called role-playing. It's called living to fight another day. That's called going back and getting help to go back and get revenge for your dead buddies. Just because you're fortunate enough to be the last survivor because you didn't do anything stupid should not penalize you, because after all, who are you taking experience points away from? Corpses? Let's see. Okay. Now, this question goes on to wonder about how a group would handle somebody booking out and getting out of the fight or whatever, and how do they return to the session next week or week after week with good sportsmanship and putting the past party disunity as, up behind them. I don't know. I guess it would depend on the group. In terms of talking about groups, the last thing I want to talk about is the group guys I game with. If you beat feet and did something that harmed the party, I could certainly see where they would be upset with you. If you beat feet and didn't suffer the fate of the rest of the party, well, they can feel bad about it, but hey, such is life, imaginary or real, things happen. They can be all the angry they want, but it wouldn't do them any good because they're dead. Now, there is a thing that I don't like, and that is, especially in tournament situations or convention situations, I will never, ever put another thief in my pre-gens. Ever. Never. And my big pre-gen set has a couple, but at the level they're at, they're no longer needing to pilfer out of their party members' pockets, because now that is what I can see disrupting a group. That lame excuse of, I was just playing my character. I'm a thief. No, you don't steal from the party. That's why thief was, I don't know, I guess calling them a rogue for having those borderline gray area skills or whatever, I guess that really works better. And if played in that sense, I guess that would eliminate that problem. But that causes huge dissension in a group when you're stealing from each other, because that group cohesion just goes right out the window. I would say that if a person, one of the persons was acting like that, it would be up to the rest of the persons to tell him to either play another character or find another group to play with. On the convention side, as we know now, just hearing from it a couple days ago, Gen Con has been canceled. Just a few hours ago, I got word that Gamehole has been canceled. North Texas is being held hostage by the hotel company, saying, "Oh, we got to clean, we got to clean." You know, they're not trying to give them any reason to back out and get their money back, which I think if you care for the people at North Texas, you might want to look on their website or their Facebook page, and you'll see the hotel company in case you'd like to let them know how stinky you think their attitude is. I corresponded with Peter Atkinson a couple of days ago, and I'm going to run a couple of virtual games for Gen Con this year after being away for a few years and haven't run any public games at Gen Con since, oh, good grief, early 80s, late 70s, I don't know, long time. I'm going to run all my events that I had scheduled for Texas virtually. I'm just waiting to figure out how it's going to happen. It's a ways down the road yet, thank goodness. I'll do the same for Gamehole. The role-playing games I can run virtually. I can't run the stock car racing games virtually. But I intend to support all the cons that I would normally support by attending as much as I can in this strange times that we're living in. I know here in Ohio we just been sprung a little bit in small groups away from each other. But hey, I'm cool with that. I've been wearing a mask whenever I go out and trying to follow all the protocols. Let's see. What you can do for these cons is buy merch. I'm sure Gamehole had probably ordered t-shirts. You got to have them. You got to order them 6 months in advance. Gen Con, I'm sure, has merchandise they ordered. I'm sure it'll be online. Help them recoup what they can. All of the con people are going to take a bath this year. Everybody. Even if you can get all the hotel money back in that, there's expenses that are never going to be recovered. We can just hope that none of these cons is dealt a fatal blow with all this. Now, in recent years, I have been using a unit of measurement when referring to an object that is probably very unfamiliar to most people today. Now, I don't want to pull these out of my ears, so I have to be careful. This is a peach basket. As you can see, by putting my head next to it, how deep it is. See how big it is. Not quite, a little bit bigger than a basketball hoop, which rumor has it these were very possibly the first basketball hoops. Anyway, that's a peach basket. And that was what had about, not packed down tight, but about 3 inches of piles, a 3-inch pile of paper that became Blackmore. But that's a peach basket. Now you know what one looks like. You can say, yeah, I saw a peach basket. Okay, here's something. This is a philosophical thing, and what I'm about to give you is my opinion and my commentary. I've watched some stuff about stats and rolling stats and how do you get your stats, and basically most of the questions boiled down to a general, how can I get a superset of stats so that I have a buffed up character before I even pick up a dinner knife, let alone a sword? In my opinion, that's what it seems to be. So my fundamental question is this. Do you want to role play? That is, create a character and play him to the best of his and yours. And I'm not being sexist here. I'm old habits of English usage. His or hers stats, and play up their strengths, gloss over their weaknesses, and role play? Or do you just want to go out and kill shit with your buffed up heroes? I mean, if that's what you want to do, fine. Dungeon crawls are where it's at. Just go down and kill shit and become bigger and buffer and whatever. But if you want to role play, then you need to play the character, buff it up, do special things to improve what you view as a weaker stat. That's role playing. In my opinion, when you're going with all these buffed up characters with all these abilities and stats before they're hardly, out of their training armor progression, then okay, that's not any different than when we were kids and we played. I'm going to throw out a few stereotypes here. It's what we did. We played cowboys and Indians. We played war. The bad guys were either the dirty Japs or the stinking Nazis. We played guns. We made up teams and shot at each other and ran around and dived through the bushes and whatever. That's kind of what this is, because we never got shot. Everything died that we shot at. That's kind of the equivalent of creating these buffed up, one quarter this, one quarter that, one quarter something else, and the fourth quarter a mongrel, with these weird characteristics, each from a genetic standpoint of their crossbreeding, their hybridization. Which, if you want to do that, then if you want to play half orcs and half elves and all that, then if you're going to play for the buffs, then you should be forced to take the weaknesses. But everybody seems to gloss over that. I mean, I personally would rather role play. Give me a character. I'll do the best I can with it. That's what I do when I play in all the charity games at conventions, which is usually the only time I get to play anywhere except from behind a screen. And that's what I do. You give me a character, and I'll play it. Now, charity games, I'll often try to play it for laughs if I can. If it's a weak or a weird character, like Doug Ray from Texas gives it a weird quirk that you have to work into your character behavior. I mean, if what you want to do is just go kill stuff, that's fine. You can probably do that solo. Something else I saw on Facebook, and I popped in with a quick little remark similar to what I make. And it was something about witches, and didn't they need their own character class? And this whole discussion during this, reading all this discussion and watching the responses and that, I noticed a tremendous lack of imagination. That's evinced in the fact of, oh, we need a character class for it. My comment was, what's the big deal? A witch is a female magic user. When you boil it right down to it. Oh no, witches do more things like curses and filters and potions and everything. Yeah, okay, every magic user can do that. Every magic user. Now, it may be that witches can't go above a certain level in terms of a role-playing hierarchy of abilities and skills. And so they become better at filters and potions and hexes and charms. But it's still a female magic user. Why do we need a class for it? Well, here we go. Again, they were doing this with splat books some years ago. If you have to have a new character, then they have to have all the rules written up. And then all those abilities, if you're doing this right, have to be compared to everything existing, everything that is extant at the time of creating this witch character class. They have to have every possible plus and minus worked out, more rules, more details, more consternation as, I don't know, can he do that? Can he do that? Can he do that? Just make it a female magic user and follow the rules that we have. And okay, she does this, she does that. If you want to play a witch, then fine, play a witch. You're just a female magic user. I'm not in favor of bunches of new character classes. I think, in my opinion right now, the number of characters, I saw a list, is ludicrous. Why do you need 3 kinds of crusaders? Anyway, my opinion. If you enjoy playing with excess rules and adding more rules into your game and giving more grist for the rules lawyers to chew on, grind away. How long have I been talking here? All right. This is strange times we're living in. All these conventions being canceled where our tribe gathers every year. And I just mentioned the big ones that I'm involved with. I know there's others, Phoenix and a bunch of others that are all going to be suffering the same thing. So this year, we have to learn, if we wish to continue doing this with our friends, we have to learn to do it online. If it's role-playing, I find it quite easy to do with just people that want maps and whatever are finding ways to do it on Roll20 or D20 or some of the other platforms. And that's great. I mean, there's something out there for everybody almost. What we can't do is we can't board game. And to me, that's more important than not being able to role play, because I can role play online. Don't have to be in the same room. Because we're all hooked up, we're all plugged in, we can talk to each other, we can hear each other. But we can't board game. Mostly. Okay, there are exceptions. There are some board games you could go online and play with some of your friends. I understand that. But those are the exceptions, not the rule. I play every other Wednesday with, I won't name names because I didn't ask their permission. I play with a newly retired, younger than 65 friend since, oh Lord, 82, 83. His best buddy all the way from middle school on. When I started playing with those two, neither of them were married and never going to get married, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the one got married. Oh, no, don't want any children. Had two, you know. And I from my advanced catbird seat, watched all this happen. And we didn't play for a while. I dropped out of gaming. They were raising their families. I was raising mine. I play with another guy that I've played with for I don't know, 15, 18 years maybe. Another one that I've played with for 3 or 4 now. And a friend of two of the other, a mutual friend of 2 of the other guys that he was playing with, who's now playing with us when he can. And I miss the shared experience that I have with the guys I've been playing with forever. But I figured out what I really miss is no matter how quick the barbs fly, no matter how witty the repartee, it's not the same in Zoom as it is when you're all standing around the table. In my case, I have a pool table that we play on half of. It's plenty big enough for everything we play. And the barbs, the shots, the needles, that the give and flow. Yeah, there I go, mixing my metaphors. The give and take, the flow of the conversation. That's the part I really miss. Now, a couple of us play Scythe online, and we use Discord to talk, but a couple of the guys don't. One of them, I'm sure, because where he's living right now, waiting for his house to be finished, probably doesn't have the bandwidth to both talk to us and play with us. And the other guy, I'm not sure, knows how to do it. Oh, yeah, there's another guy there that I've played with for, yeah, okay. So anyway, there's 5 and there's 6 of us when we're all together. And the 2 that don't talk, I was talking to one of the ones I do talk with. He goes, well, maybe that's why they don't talk, is that they don't like that part of it. Because when I was speaking to, he and I, we're barbs and needles. Good friends, I believe, I'm sure. But we're very fierce rivals and not afraid of poking, subtly or not, every once in a while. And I think that's the part I miss. I guess poker players who are used to going to the poker room that they go to all the time miss their buddies the same way. The pressing the flesh, the human contact. But in the case of my gaming Jones, I miss being around guys that we share an interest with. I mean, my wife's cool. If I knew any lady gamers, they'd be welcome to come over. But I don't know any in Cincinnati. So, I say guys in this case because it's true. We need to keep reaching out to each other in this period of isolation. Different states are doing different things. I know different rules are being changed. My wife and I have decided that not this coming weekend, this weekend that you'll be seeing this on, but the following one, we're going to have all our grandbabies back. In the meantime, we're still social distancing, still wearing a mask if we have to go out to get groceries or whatever. And I hope that all of you that are watching this have it in your best interest and wear a mask out in public also. Regardless what you may be hearing from one side or the other, I do not believe that this thing is over far enough to be just going out and having a good time again. We're already seeing micro spikes. This disease is going to be here for a long, long time. There's already things being said, states are saying that we're not going to be having any of these any kind of conventions, any kind of mass gatherings until or unless there is a herd immunity and a vaccine. So I think sales conventions and trips to Branson and, big yearly meetings of upper and mid-level executives, goodbye. It's all going to be Zoom. We'll find out if we can live and work from home. If that proves to be the case, what are they going to do with all those office buildings they no longer need? There could be a glut of downtown real estate that could become converted to housing. And golly, wouldn't that be interesting if we could revitalize downtown with decent housing? But that all remains to be seen. I can't think of any business that has figured out that, hey, we can manage 90% efficiency working from home and save this enormous amount of money. It's worth it. Because we'll just hire a few more, get our efficiency up to where we need it to be, and save all that money on physical commitments like space, office buildings, rent, utilities. In one way, I'm kind of sad. I probably won't get to see all the long-term changes this has, but I'm hanging on for as long as I can to see as many of them as I can and to get back to gaming face-to-face. So hang in there, practice safe, safe socializing, safe whatever. And, the thing, sneeze in your elbow, wash your hands, don't touch your face. Wear a mask, please. May not be you that catches it, but it may be somebody innocent that you carry it to. The other day when I was out, I had my clear safety glasses, because if anybody without a mask came up to speak to me, I was going to very pointedly put them on and then turn and say yes. Probably too subtle. Dodata Gobi. Oh, hello. I'm still figuring out when this thing starts. Welcome to my cellar.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar.
Last man around when them rates went down. Calling Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite a feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar.
Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard brain. ESR and fantasy, collection of micro armory. Titan with tramp under a tree.
High as could be. He's the curmudgeon who about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar.
Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar.
Curmudgeon.